What's up, fiends? Alucard here. Today we're going to chat with actor and improv artist Bill D. Russell. He is currently appearing on the new Puppet Master Dr. Death movie, as well as Evil Lurks, both available on Tubi, and a movie called It Comes From Somewhere, which is available on Amazon Prime. Everything else I will have links in the description, so be sure to check them out. Now let's get to the chat. All right, so please welcome Mr. Bill D. Russell to the show.
Hey, everybody.
How's it going, Bill?
It's going all right. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. I'm doing okay. I believe you're in the Chicago area, right?
The
Ish?
Michiana area.
Oh, okay.
Right,
Okay.
right at the moment, I'm in Michigan.
Oh, okay.
But
Yeah.
I'm based out of the Chicago area. So
Yeah, I'm down in New Orleans, so that's why.
right, yeah.
Yeah.
We have different weather right now, I think.
Yeah. Right now it's actually fairly comfortable.
Yeah. We're getting snow, so always
Yeah.
the fun thing.
Yeah, we get snow about every 7-8 years, maybe.
Wow, I didn't realize it was that often.
Yeah.
Wow.
About
Impressive.
that. All right, so let's kind of start at the beginning a little bit here. When did you discover that you wanted to act and entertain?
Oh my gosh, that's a great question. How long is this thing supposed to go?
However long you want to go.
In all honesty, I because I remember this very well. As a kid, I kind of was, and this is, I think, true for a lot of people in comedy or acting or theater. I was kind of a misfit, outcast, and around sixth grade, I got the idea if I could make people laugh,
Mhm.
that's a way to win friends and influence people. So
Right.
I started like studying at 12 years old as much as I could study like Bill Cosby and
Mhm.
the laugh-in stuff,
Oh yeah.
to gather material that I could then use. So that was kind of the beginning of that. But even then it wasn't, oh, I want to get on stage and perform, or I want to be in something. But as I got older, I fell in love with movies. I grew up in rural Wisconsin in a small town. We didn't even have a movie theater
Oh.
in our town. This was before cable or
Mhm.
satellite even. So all I had was broadcast TV, but Friday night there would be a late movie, and invariably it would be a Universal or Hammer horror film.
Nice.
So I fell in love with those, and then just fell in love with movies in general. And I saw something Keanu Reeves said. He was accepting an award. He says, "I love movies. I effing love movies. I want to watch them, and I want to be in them." And I was like, "Yeah, that's how I am."
That's beautiful. I love that. That's cool.
I had started when I first moved to Chicago after I dropped out of Bible college. Yeah, that's a whole nother story for a whole nother time. I started taking screenwriting classes at Columbia College in Chicago, thinking that's how I would get involved. The concept of, again, just sort of my upbringing in rural Wisconsin, the idea that, oh, I could become part of that world, just didn't seem possible. So I thought, well, this is how I'd like to get involved. And I enjoyed writing. So in the midst of taking those classes, though, someone suggested I study improv. So I started taking classes with Second City's Players Workshop. And, that was kind of where the acting bug started to come.
Gotcha. That was my next question. When did the improv stuff start?
Yeah, well, that was it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And at the time, well, it was the early 80s, early to mid 80s. And it was that time when Harold Ramis and Bill Murray and, Belushi and Aykroyd and all these guys were all these films were coming out.
Right.
And they all, of course, had Second City in common. they all had Second City backgrounds. So I thought, that must be a great way to network with movie people someone had suggested this place for improv classes, and I thought, yeah, let's do that. And then I can network my way into the movie industry.
Nice. You probably hear me flip this over and over because I have a bunch of notes on here.
That's fine. Go right ahead. Flip away.
Yeah, flipping. All right. Yeah. So what drew you to improv? And what this is something I might want to try out.
Yeah, I remember when I'd gone through the training program and we did our graduation show. Well, I had been doing a written sketch show, the Second City Children's Show on Sundays, which was sort of something that people in the training program would be in these shows for kids. So we did like spoofs on fairy tales or whatever. So I had been doing that, but for a captive audience that just wants to get to the pizza and birthday cake.
Right.
But then we did our graduation show, and it's like friends and family is who comes to see this. So of course they are very supportive and encouraging. But the first time you get like a big laugh and applause for something, it was like,
like euphoric.
Yes,
yeah.
It was euphoric. That's exactly right. And I immediately became addicted. So from there, I really wasn't interested at the time in pursuing the regular path to Second City. I was more interested in what they were doing at what was then called Improv Olympics, became IO Chicago, but working with a guy named Del Close, who is kind of considered the guru of improv. And he was the director of Second City when all those people, Belushi and Ramis and Murray and all those guys were at Second City. So he was kind of like, that's what I wanted to work with, because it was a much more creative thing at the time. And again, I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the creative process. And the whole time I'm still working full-time, 40 hours a week.
I feel
something
your pain.
Completely different. So
yeah. Oh yeah, I completely feel your pain.
Yeah.
So on your YouTube channel, I actually saw a bit you did with two other guys, and y'all were singing a song. And like each person did the next word in the song.
That was an improv. That was man, that
was incredible. I was watching that like, whoa.
Now. Yeah. That's improvising a song one word at a time.
Yeah, that was really impressive. I was like, dang. I was laughing my butt off too.
As long as you do it the way you're supposed to do it, which is say what should follow the guy before you, it works, but it looks magical.
It really does.
As long as you do it right, it's not that hard.
Right.
But the outcome is always entertaining. Even if you mess it up, it's still entertaining.
It's still right. It's like, well, that's
I guarantee you, it's still entertaining.
So when did you transition into doing all the commercials and stuff that you did in the early 90s?
Well, after I left Improv Olympics around 87, and I really wasn't sure what I wanted to do, if I wanted to continue an acting career or not.
Right.
But I had so many people who would say something like, Bill, you've got the right look for commercials. Have you tried doing that? And finally it's like, well, maybe I should give it a shot. So, I did what you have to do. They got the headshots because this whole time I had never been registered with an agent or had headshots or anything, even though I'd been doing theater and improv for several years. Because that's where the money is. I had gone from wanting to be a creative artist to being a whore for soap. Just give me the money.
Hey,
so that's what really prompted my interest in doing commercials and people telling me they thought I could do it. So So yeah, that's what got that started.
Well, you mentioned you had the look, and when I was watching, because I watched almost everything that's on your YouTube channel.
I'm so sorry. You must
But
have an awful lot of free time.
not really, shockingly, no. But yeah, you really do. You did have the kind of like all American, normal looking dude. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like,
yeah. And for a while, I marketed myself. My brand was the world's most average man, like being the world's tallest midget.
right, right.
How can you be the most average? But that was the gimmick.
Hey, it worked. It it got you. It got you. And then of course the two big ones that I saw were the Blockbuster and the Pizza Hut.
Pizza Hut, yeah, was
Yeah,
another big
the
one.
Pizza Hut one was probably my favorite. I think.
Really?
Yeah. For some reason, that one caught my. I don't know. I enjoyed that one.
Well, good. Just a little sidebar. I don't know if you remember the one for Alaska Airlines.
Yes.
The guy who directed that is a fellow named Joe Settlemeyer. And at that time, I don't know if you recognize the name, he was riding the wave of success of having directed the Where's the Beef commercial for Wendy's with Clara Peller. And he was known for preferring to use regular people instead of actors. But for whatever reason, he cast me in that. But it was a very interesting experience to work with this guy.
Oh, I bet. You should have. You should have. You should have had like a little fake patty or something and started throwing.
Right? Yeah, because I'm sure no one's ever done.
I'm sure no. I'm sure never. Right. So you've done a lot of different types of things, like you've done theater-y type things. You've done commercials, movies, shorts, all that stuff. Is there one in particular that you like doing better than the other, or how can I phrase it, or do you kind of look at them all kind of the same way?
No, actually, no. On camera film has always been what I wanted.
Okay, gotcha.
And quite honestly, doing theater and improv for as long as I did it was more getting my name known in the Chicago acting community. That, that's a way for casting directors and agents to know who you are when you don't have prior film experience. They can come and see you in a show. So that's really why I did that mostly. It was, my aim was always to do film.
Gotcha.
And that's because that's what I enjoy. And it still remains the same. Commercials are what pay money.
There you go. You got to do what works, right?
You do what you got to do.
That's right. Absolutely. So so who or what kind of inspires you to keep going? To like just if you know what I'm getting at.
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm not sure that I know what the answer to that is. Inspiration. Well, again, tying back into that, getting involved at Second City or at the Players Workshop Training Center was an article in the Chicago Tribune magazine that was a profile of Harold Ramis at that time. And just, I really idolized him at that time, and I got to audition several times for Groundhog Day, and didn't get cast. But I desperately had wanted to work with Harold. So he was kind of like, I don't know. That was, I really felt inspired a lot by him.
Yeah. So what's your favorite movie of Harold Ramis? Or do you have one?
Wow. Well, of anything he had anything to do with, he co-wrote Animal House, which I think is, one of the most iconic movies in history. It's, Groundhog Day is
he has so many
movie. Yeah, there's just
fantastic movies. Yeah, Stripes.
Yeah, he was just like one after the other.
Yeah.
What a brilliant mind, and it's a tragedy that we lost him so young.
It really is. Did you see the new Ghostbusters?
I haven't yet, actually.
It's very interesting. I won't give anything away, but it's quite
Yeah, no,
interesting,
I've
especially
got
for
it on my
Harold Ramis
watch
fans.
list. I just haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Definitely recommended, by the way.
All right.
So what kind of movies? Obviously, you're into comedy, but what are you into? Any other type of movies? Like what do you actually like?
Recently, I've become more plugged back into the horror genre.
Right.
You know, kind of going back to what I grew up with childhood, and a lot of the classic 80s films that a lot of horror buffs, you know, hold dear, the slasher films and those. At that time, they kind of turned me off because I want monsters.
Mm-hmm,
I don't
mm-hmm.
want crazy people with, you know,
Right,
chainsaws and
right,
hatchets.
right.
That's so now. Well, I've gotten cast in a few horror related films, including the recent Puppet Master Doctor Death. And just realizing what a large community of fans are part of that really made me say, you know, I better go back and school myself. So lately, I've been watching a lot of those, you know, the ones that people consider the classic, iconic movies of that genre.
Right, right. Well,
But you
that's
know, I still love comedies and thrillers, action ones, mind, you know, psychological thrillers.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
it all depends on the mood and in how well my attention span is working on any given day.
Absolutely. Yeah, I definitely understand that. As you can see, I have quite the collection. This is
Yeah,
mostly horror
nice.
behind me, but over
Right.
here I have other things.
Yeah. Well, I was another big inspiration for me were the Marx Brothers.
Oh
Again,
yeah.
you know, just watching broadcast TV. Duck Soup was on a Saturday afternoon at 2 o'clock or something,
Right.
and I really had kind of an idea. You know, Groucho was part of the popular culture, so you were aware of his persona. But the first time I actually saw one of their movies, I was blown away, and I really became a student of not just them, but that sort of comedy of that era.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
you know, which a lot of that was just left over from burlesque and vaudeville and Broadway. Most of the Marx Brothers' early films had been Broadway productions, and the movies were basically just filming the Broadway production.
Right. Right.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah. Most of my exposure to the Marx Brothers was You Bet Your Life with Groucho,
sure.
because that used to be on TV when I
Of
was little,
course.
like
Yeah,
all the
yeah,
time.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that was my and you know I kind of got into it, and then I went back and started watching some of the
Yeah.
older stuff. And yeah, it's some pretty interesting stuff. It
Well,
really is.
and the other thing that fascinated me is you know, I knew them as performers, but the more, you know, like I read biographies and things, realized the common perception is that they just made everything up on the fly. Those shows were, at least the bones of them, were written by professional Broadway
Mm-hmm.
uh, stage writers of that time, very well known.
Mm-hmm.
You know, wrote these shows. It was these brilliant words being delivered by brilliant performers that just so it
That
gave me an appreciation for the importance of writing as well as the performing.
gotcha. So do
That
you
was
write as
much
well?
longer of an answer than you wanted.
That's okay. So do you write as well?
I really don't anymore. Um,
It
there
it,
was
it 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 can be a chore. That's
Yeah, I'm one of those people that I have like a lot of great ideas, but not the whatever it takes to sit down and actually commit them to
right.
a word processor or whatever you call those things these days.
Those man-fangled things, whatever.
Yeah, whatever that is.
Whatever.
If I can't do it, oh my God, sorry. There was an earthquake. I apologize. I don't know. Can you see the ground is still shaking?
Ah.
That was like an 8.7 on the Andy Richter scale.
Andy, there you go, Andy Richter scale. Beautiful. Love it.
Another old improv Olympic guy shouting out.
Bam. There you go. So you mentioned Puppet Master Dr. Death. That's how I discovered you.
Right.
And you were telling me that you actually filmed it differently than what was actually that made the movie.
A little
A little bit.
differently, and it's just right toward the end. The script that I had been given and the way we shot it in the basement of the Full Moon Manor in Cleveland Heights, Ohio, which was an experience in and of itself just to be there. The puppet, the Dr. Death puppet, was supposed to burst out of my chest and spraying my face with my own blood. And we shot me, doing a take like I see this happening. And Greg Leitner, the SFX guy, shot a squirt gun full of fake blood into my face. And so
Nice.
I was really looking, I thought that's what's going to be memorable.
Right.
And then when I finally saw I watched it on the Full Moon Features app. I'm like, damn it. They changed it.
They cut out all my good stuff.
Damn it.
Oh, that is too funny. So yeah, what's it like being a part of an actual a popular horror franchise?
It's been a revelation for one thing. Honestly, when I first auditioned for it, I was aware of them. I'd seen the titles on, scrolling through Tubi or whatever. But I thought, who watches those? I really didn't. I was totally, and I should have known. There's how many of them so far? Like 14 or 15 in the franchise.
I believe yours is 15.
With all the, the different offshoots and standalones. So obviously it's popular.
So it's doing something right?
Yeah. So I posted something about, hey, I got a part in this film. I'm so excited. I was stunned by the responses I got. People saying, I have all the movies on Blu-ray and DVD. I've been a fan for years. That's so cool. I had no idea. How big and how passionate the Puppet Master community is.
Oh yeah, and it seems to keep growing every year.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. I actually have. I think I have the first 12. In the little set over here. Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah, it's everywhere. It's everywhere. So have you worked with prosthetics and stuff?
Nothing real elaborate. I'm in a movie called Evil Lurks, which is currently available on Tubi and I think Amazon. And in that, there's I get killed. I won't go into more in case anybody wants to watch it. I don't want it to be a spoiler, but it involved, yes, my face being disfigured. And so there was, like a missing facial feature type thing that we did that took some work and what I thought very impressive.
Mm-hmm. That was actually the movie I was referencing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
I have seen
one,
it. Yeah.
There's another one called Split the Bottle where I'm an older guy who's been the victim of a horrible motorcycle accident, and the little film is about my interactions with a home nurse that comes to treat my but my legs are supposed to have been very, very badly burned. So again, we did a whole lot of gluing on latex and creating these horrible, and it really looked
it did
ugly.
Yeah, it certainly did. And and so what was it like working in a wheelchair? Because you're obviously not in a wheelchair,
right?
Was it like super difficult, or was it?
No. To me, it wasn't much more than I'm sitting in my chair, but my chair has wheels, so I can move around. That's the only way I can move around. One thing I really tried to do though was like get a sense of being how a person would really be in that wheelchair, because my tendency would be just to sit there very
right,
nicely, right. And that's not necessarily how someone who's in a wheelchair all the time, they fidget and they're try to get comfortable. So I tried to add that in.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, I actually really like that one. I watched that one yesterday
Oh,
actually,
you
and
did?
I did, and I really thought you were really great in that one. You really
Well,
were.
thank you. Thank you very much.
I really enjoyed that one, and I will have links to all these little shorts and stuff that we're talking about in the description below. So check them
Wow.
out, people. Check them
Excellent.
out.
Yeah, because I get paid for every time you watch one.
Boom. There you go. So is it harder to be funny or menacing?
That's a good question. Uh, and do you think I'm menacing?
It's in certain roles.
Because honestly, until recently, that's never something I've played. Um, but I know I can turn it on.
Mhm.
I know how to be menacing for the camera if I need to be. Um, so comedy for me, it's what can be difficult about it is, and I think a lot of this comes from having done years of improv and sketch comedy performing, is I tend to be a little too big, more caricaturish than an actual character. There's a few things that I watch now that we recorded a few years ago that I cringe watching because I want to go. It's like, oh, I could do that so much better and different. But
Right.
that's how you learn. So
Absolutely. So do you watch yourself in these movies? 'Cause
obsessively, like clinically obsessive. I should be in some sort of treatment or therapy. Uh, but it's like not like, oh, I love it so much as I hate what I'm seeing.
right.
How can I make it better? That's what I'm always
Yes. Yes.
striving for, is like, I want something that I can actually go, there, I did a good job. And I mean, there are those things. But I want them all to be that way.
Well, yeah, of course,
Yeah.
of course. Yeah, I feel the same way with the YouTube and all that. Yeah,
Sure.
absolutely, definitely, man. So you always seem like you have so much fun on the just no matter what you're doing, whether you're a good guy, bad, it seems like you're having a good time.
I I usually am, and I think
Yeah. So like, are
I
you?
think that's part of it. Even if for a menacing character,
Mhm.
he enjoys the out of what he's doing. He's
Right, right.
having a good time.
Yeah, oh yeah,
So yeah, I'm having a good time too.
that's awesome. So are you like a big jokester on
I
set
am
or
like, yeah, and again, like, irritatingly so. Like, how do you turn this guy off? I'm serious. It's
like this guy again? Damn it!
pretty much, yeah, yeah.
Man, that's funny. Okay, so let's go back to Evil Lurks a little bit here.
Sure.
So you play Rich. You're kind of like how, the creepy neighbor.
Creepy neighbor.
I guess is a good way to describe it.
It's the so-called comic relief in a
Yeah,
horror film.
yeah.
Uh, but yeah, I'm definitely a creepy neighbor,
So what? Yeah.
and I
So
didn't have to really act to come across as creepy. It's amazing,
nice. See, you're so natural. So
very much so.
that's actually pretty funny. So let's see what else. I also watched one called Make 'Em Laugh.
Oh yeah,
Really
uh,
good little short comedy
yeah,
drama.
it is.
Yeah,
I'm glad
really.
you mentioned that. Yeah, Da Vinci Productions,
Yeah.
which is basically, if my understanding is correct, a bunch of people who were part of the DePaul Film School. Um, so they're graduates of that, and they kind of put together this little company or whatever that they're doing these short films. And yeah, I thought that one turned out really well.
Yeah, that I thought, yeah, that one really impressed me. It's about this like stand-up comic kind of going through a bunch of stuff,
Yeah,
and you're the meditation guru.
the meditation guru.
I love it. And you popped up and y'all sitting there all folded up, and it was great.
Yeah, I like that because that's a kind of part that is so different from anything else I've gotten to play. So it was fun to do something like that.
Yeah, yeah. And let's see what else. Camp Sunshine was another one.
Mm.
Oh,
That's a Western Kentucky University thesis film.
Oh, okay. All right. That one,
And,
I actually enjoyed that one too.
yeah, that's the vampire one.
Mm-hmm.
We shot that at the Western Kentucky Sheriff's camp for like juvenile, wayward juveniles, like a
Oh, so
boys and girls
that
camp,
was
but you could
legit.
tell it was kind of a boys and girls camp for people with issues. And so, it's just like barracks and cabins,
Mm-hmm.
basically.
Yeah.
But all of us, the actors, the crew, everybody, we lived there for the week that we were shooting.
Okay, gotcha.
So we ate our meals together. We slept in bunk beds in a barrack. That in and of itself was a fun experience.
Oh gosh, I can imagine the NASA skit.
Oh yes,
That was that I actually had to stop it because I was laughing so hard.
well, thank you. I enjoy your saying that. That's from the Wizards at Clickhole, which is a division of the Onion. And actually, if you looked at the comedy reel that I did recently, like half of those clips are things I either did for Onion Labs or for Clickhole, which is basically was the same group of people. Gotcha. And they just came up with a lot of funny stuff. That there's a whole Nassau Stories segment of different people telling their stories. So mine's just like a little sliver of my interview, actually.
Oh man, yeah. Okay, I'm gonna have to look for the whole thing because that was pretty great.
Nassau Stories.
All right, I will look that up.
It is, the whole thing is funny, and they have brilliant writers and directors who know how to get you to just be very come across as being real, not like an actor.
Yeah.
They know their stuff.
And then I also saw you in a music video where you play piano.
Yes.
Do you actually play piano?
God, no.
No.
Maybe chopsticks if I've had a couple shots of tequila. But that's about it. No, I was just, they're shooting the singer and myself at the piano and the other things that are going on while the song is playing. We're not actually recording the song. She's not actually singing. I'm not actually playing the piano. The director would basically say, do this, do like a little flare with your arms here, or look to the side and scowl like you're looking at this guy. And, so I just did what she said. That was a fun experience too. And again, something completely out of what I normally do.
Yeah. And then I do want to bring up another one. I believe
there's more.
What's that?
There's more.
There's more. You just keep doing more things.
Somebody stop me! Help!
Stop hiring this guy, man. Jeez. But you're in an Ed Wood homage type movie.
Yeah.
Let's
talk about that. It came from somewhere.
Yes.
A little production company called Across Star Films, and they've got some other things out there, and they're in the process of making more films. But this one in particular, was the writer was fascinated with films like Plan 9 from Outer Space and Teenagers from Outer Space, which we all watched together, just to have a sense of the experience. There doesn't seem to be anything in the film about anybody being a teenager. I just think it was that time in the 50s when movies about teenagers were very popular. So someone said, let's just say it's teenagers from outer space.
They look like they're about 40.
Not people in their late 20s from outer space.
Yeah.
So anyway, so he wrote this, it's a parody homage. Plan 9 was a very low budget film, and that's what's made it entertaining and a cult classic, because Ed Wood thought he was making an entertaining film. He wasn't trying to make a look how funny this is.
Right.
He was deadly serious. That's what makes it funny. And I think the writer, Steve Herman, really did a good job of capturing that. But at the beginning of Plan 9, there was a popular character of the day who called himself the Amazing Criswell, and he made predictions. He was a psychic and would make these predictions. And he did this little rambling intro that kind of made not a lot of sense.
Right.
He keeps talking about the past and the future. And so, Steve wrote this bit it was very difficult to say.
Wow.
Because it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make linear sense. And we managed to get through it. And I thought, if we screw it up and have to do a few takes, you edit it together and it still works.
Right.
Right,
so, exactly.
But yeah, that is currently streaming on Amazon Prime, and I'd love for people to check it out because it's really a fun little film.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to be checking it out. I watched the trailer and a couple of little clips and stuff, and it looks like a hell of a good time. It really does.
It's funny because we've gotten a few reactions that are like, that don't understand. I think that what we're making fun of. And like, yeah, if you don't know the source material, this might be a head scratcher.
Yeah, you'd be like, what? Okay. And then you have a few more things coming out, or you're working on, I believe. Let's see. I have one, Desperate Souls.
Desperate Souls, actually, that's the same group of people, the same company. I'm actually just serving as an assistant producer on that.
Okay.
Which means basically nothing. It's a part of contributing financially to the project. If you want to be an assistant producer on Desperate Souls, please go to Indiegogo. A couple of other things that are coming out. You're Out.
Okay.
With a Chicago director named Catherine Mars, Lady K as she's known. It's this is how I'm describing it. It's about baseball, dogs, and boobs, which is like the most but PG-13 boobs. A guy goes on a cross-country trip with his son to try to get him signed to a baseball contract, and during the trip they rescue a dog. But his wife does this YouTube show wearing a mask and showing a lot of cleavage, and she calls herself Boob Ruth. And I stalk her, including climbing up to her window on a ladder. So,
okay, I will definitely be on the lookout for that.
Lots of fun.
kind of like Animal House.
Kind of, sort of, but not quite as cool.
Right.
That's like one of the coolest scenes, and hopefully people see it, the uncut version, because it's quite different. From the broadcast version. And then also, I always want to get this in because I think it's a great project and I can't wait for it to come out. And it is not a comedy at all. It's a docudrama called Black Ice that we shot in Detroit. And it's a film about the movement in the 70s for the Black neighborhoods in Milwaukee to convert some of the recreation centers into hockey rinks. And they met with a great deal of resistance from the city because the people in the city were like, well, why should we spend all this money? Black kids don't play hockey. There was that sort of, yeah. So I get to be the old white asshole who basically represents that. I'm the director of recreation for the city of Detroit. But I do get my comeuppance. As well I should. But I really enjoy doing something like that where I can be representative of, my generation and in the ways, that my peers have screwed things up. So here, I'll be the representative of that. And that was written and directed by a guy named Gerald McBride, who, for anybody who knows Detroit, he's evidently a very well-known disc jockey and radio personality in Detroit.
Okay.
Who's kind of been, nursing this project along for a couple of years now. But I look forward to that one a lot.
Very cool. And then you also did one, I don't think I have the name of it on here. Something with hair.
Yes, I was in the original touring cast of Hair. I was the only one required to wear clothes during the show. No, business hair.
Business
What you're
hair, that's it.
referring to, by the wonderful Marissa Baldwin Woodhouse. That is her project of passion. She wrote that and produced it, stars in it. And again, that's another one that it took a while to get it finished, but the finished product is really good. Business hair is an expression common in the Black community in regards to working in predominantly white workplaces where you were expected to have business hair. In other words, not, anything Afrocentric.
Mm-hmm.
So again, I am the old white guy, head of HR, who's trying to attract diversity to the company, but I'm so clueless. So it's this string of me interviewing these Black candidates, and I'm just like, you graduated from college? That type of thing. Wow. I'm like, I'm a real asshole in a lot of my roles.
So if you need an asshole white guy,
I'm the guy.
There you go. Build your guy.
If Dabney Coleman's not available, here I am.
There you go. You could be in a remake of 9 to 5. There you go.
I know people who hate Dabney Coleman because they can't get past his characters that he's portrayed. And I'm like, he's an actor. That's not really him.
It's like, he's not really that much of an asshole.
Yeah, not that much.
Say, not that bad. Come on. Nobody's that bad.
I mean, he's an actor, so of course he's an asshole. But
there you go. Oh man, that's like the third 9 to 5 reference I've had in the past 3 days.
Ooh.
From people. So yeah, there you go.
That's got to be some sort of sign.
That's right. And
good or bad, I don't know.
Well, luckily I just watched it, so there
you go.
Boom, nailed it. And then I have one listed, says it's called Stalkers. What is that about?
Stalkers, the great film that never was.
Oh, okay.
Your typical, the haunted house genre, sort of. Someone inherits a house and there's evil lurks in that house. Yet another house with evil lurking in it. And we never even shot anything. We got together for a few table reads. The director made an IMDb page and put us on it, and it sits there saying it's still in pre-production for, I believe it's 8 years now that It's been in pre-production. So,
maybe one day, maybe.
I just say, well, I can justify it being there, saying, well, it's still taking time. It's just time. Something that good takes time.
Exactly. Perfection takes time. Absolutely. Well, Bill, I really want to thank you for coming on today. I don't want to keep you too much longer.
Thanks for wanting to listen to me ramble. It's nice.
So please check out Bill. I have I'm going to have a ton of links in the description box below. Please check everything out. I'm going to have a gazillion freaking links. Just click them, people. Click them. All right.
Yeah. The more you click, the more I get paid.
There you go. And like this video, because that helps me.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely like and comment and share this video right here. Please.
Absolutely. All right. Well, until next time, remember to stay spooky.
Yeah, absolutely.